If you stand on these rocky ridges at sunrise, the landscape feels entirely permanent. But pan the camera outward, and you see a sprawling grid of modern concrete actively swallowing the horizon. Looking at this topographic map of northwestern India, you can clearly trace the spine of the Aravalli Range. These are the oldest fold mountains in India. The geology here dates back 2.5 billion years to the Precambrian era. When they first formed, these peaks were towering and jagged, easily rivaling the modern Himalayas. That upward thrust stopped when the tectonic plates deep within the Earth's crust finally collided, locked into place, and ceased pushing the rock skyward. With the upward growth halted, billions of years of relentless wind and rain went to work on the stone. Today, the peaks are worn down to eroded stubs. They survived the splitting of Earth's supercontinents through sheer geological endurance. The Aravalli outlasted oceans and tectonic fracturing over billions of years, yet a large portion of this ancient rock is currently being erased in a single human century. The mountains are being systematically dismantled through aggressive, large-scale mining. Entire peaks are vanishing. In 2024, a peak known as Bakrija Hill in Haryana was completely flattened and wiped off the map. Between 2018 and 2025 alone, authorities recorded over 40,000 separate instances of illegal mining across the range. Extractors are continuously carving deep geometric voids into the landscape to pull out stone, marble, and aggregate. Humans are taking a 2-billion-year-old geological anchor, grinding it into dust and feeding it into the regional real estate market. The reason these mountains are being targeted goes back to their violent birth. The cratonic collisions, the massive crashing of ancient, stable continental plates, created intense heat and pressure that forged an incredibly dense concentration of valuable minerals. Trapped within this weathered rock are highly lucrative deposits of zinc, lead, granite, marble, and copper. That exact mineral wealth made the Aravalli a cradle for early humanity. Going back to around 4000 BCE, communities in the Indus Valley Civilization settled here specifically to mine those resources. Archaeologists have mapped out the Ganeshwar Sunari cultural complex, documenting nearly 400 ancient settlements directly alongside the Aravalli copper mines. They built massive copper-producing networks to forge tools and trade goods. For thousands of years, humans extracted wealth from these hills to drive their own technological progress, proving that society and this ancient geology previously coexisted. Above the mineral-rich basement rock, the Aravalli Range operates as a massive, functional geographic shield for the entire region. This map illustrates its first critical function. To the west lies the harsh, arid Thar Desert. The Aravalli spine acts as a physical barrier, blocking sand from expanding eastward. Keeping focus, we trace its second function, a vital water catchment system. Rain hits the slopes and births major rivers like the Banas, Luni, and Sabarmati, distributing water across multiple states. Third, the range serves as a 200-kilometer continuous wildlife corridor. The dense, dry, deciduous forests support complex ecosystems, providing crucial roaming territory for apex predators like the Indian leopard, as well as hyenas and jackals. But modern urban sprawl and large highways are slicing through this corridor. Without wildlife passages, the habitat is heavily fragmented, frequently trapping and killing animals trying to navigate their historical territory. Dismantling the Aravalli removes the barrier holding back the desert, drains the water catchment, and destroys the wildlife corridor. It effectively turns off the central life support engine for all of northwestern India. When you break a geographic shield, the consequences are immediate and cascading. Surrounding states are already experiencing plummeting groundwater tables, and severe, unchecked particulate pollution is pouring into dense urban centers like Delhi. Despite these immediate threats, legal gymnastics are currently accelerating the destruction. In late 2025, the Supreme Court of India issued an order that strictly redefined the legal parameters of the mountains. The ruling stated that only landforms rising over 100 meters above the surrounding terrain would be officially considered part of the Aravalli Hills. Anything under 100 meters loses its protected status, legally opening it up for unhindered mining and real estate development. When legal definitions are narrowed to maximize extraction, The ecological survival of millions of people living in the shadow of the mountains is sacrificed. Facing intense environmental degradation, a desperate and massive intervention has been proposed to save the region, the Great Green Wall of Aravalli. This map visualization traces the immense scope of the project. The plan is to create a continuous ecological corridor, 1,600 kilometers long and 5 kilometers wide, running from Gujarat to Delhi. It requires planting 1.35 billion native trees over 10 years to act as a living buffer against pollution. By artificially restoring the forest cover, the project aims to replace the physical barrier that the mined rocks used to provide, while simultaneously reconnecting the bisected wildlife corridors. A 2-billion-year-old tectonic giant survived the violent splitting of the Earth's crust, the birth of oceans, and billions of years of weathering. Now its final survival depends entirely on whether humans decide to plant trees instead of breaking rocks.